Hey, black women. I have to reapproach this discussion again about this Scott Adams guy. He is the creator of the comic Dilbert. Now, I know a lot of you, if you're not as old as me, or even maybe about 20 years younger than me, you probably don't even know the comic Dilbert or even read the newspaper. See, back before the internet became a big thing and where everyone has access to the internet the way they do now, the internet, when it originally came out, was only available to people who had money to afford it, right? So the majority of us still read the newspaper. And this guy is the creator of a comic strip, Dilbert, and it wasn't one of my favorites, but it did appeal to the working class person, right? So apparently he read and was responding or reacting to a janky poll done by a group of people who are known to be like rebel rousers or troublemakers and disingenuous people who don't always tell the truth about what it is they're trying to take these polls for. So anyway, he was hooked on this nonsense that most people are. He's anti-black. We already know that from his rant, right? And his rant was about people with this belief and this argument about, can African American people be racist? The answer to that is unequivocally no. When you know the definition of words, you know the etymology of words, you know that people often combine the social meaning of a word or the adapted social meaning or interpretation of the word against the actual definition and full practice of the word. So in order for you to be a racist, you have to be a person, a group, entity, or system that has the ability to suppress and oppress people. And that would be the American government, the president, things of that nature. Not an individual person walking around on the street like you and me, or somebody like him, Scott, who is a white guy that just has a problem with black people. And because he decided that his dislike and disdain for black people was justification for him to go into a racially prejudiced rant, because it wasn't racist either, because he doesn't really have the power to oppress and suppress people, masses of people. Now, if he hires a couple of people, fires them, or keeps them from having warranted and earned raises, promotions, that's a different story. That's still not being a racist. He's not able to take a whole state and impoverish them, or take a whole state and subject them to really poor, deplorable education, or really poor and deplorable housing conditions, right? Or limit and restrict their access to gainful employment. He can't do any of those things. So he's not a racist. He's a bigot, yes. He's racially prejudiced, yes, right? And a few other names that I don't want to call him right now, but we know what he is, right? So when he did that, he was responding to, in his mind, what he conjured up and came up with is that the result of the poll that he took the answers from and decided to interpret them in a way that in a way that he felt black people were a hate group. Now, that's not true. Not at all. Because if you actually look up the real definition of a hate group, there are many components to that definition that black people as a group in this country do not have access to. Now, can individual black people, in addition to anyone else, become a domestic terrorist? Yes, they can. And they could do that all by themselves. Now, if he would have said the way that black males in particular have been terrorizing different communities and invoking incredible amounts of crime throughout different states or throughout all the states in America, I would consider them, consider is the key word here, them a hate group. He might have had a leg to stand on, because I consider black males throughout America who are violent, who are ignorant, who are committing these crimes, who are committing black femicide, committing little black girl trafficking, drug sales, alcohol, all of the ill repute that goes on in our neighborhoods. When they are the ones conducting that, promoting that, and the main players in that, I definitely consider them a hate group. And I consider them a hate group because they are a hate group that is attacking specifically one sector of society, which would be black women and black girls. So like I said, when you know the definitions of words, you can put things together and they would make a lot of sense. Now, he could have saved himself all that hoopla if he would have just stayed calm, said what he had to say, but put it out in a way where he's making it seem like it is his opinion, not a matter of fact. What he did was flip it around because he got so emotional because of his white fragility that it became personal, right? And so therefore, he described a whole group of people as a hate group when he doesn't know anything about African Americans. Most people don't. Even when you believe you know us based off of stereotypes that white America creates, that is not who we are, all right? And every one of us is individually different and individually a different person, the same way everyone else is. And we get very tired of all of you insulting our intelligence and insulting our characters by saying all types of silly stuff like, oh, you're a good one, or you're the best, or oh my God, I wish I could be as smart as you, or the brain on you, and ignorant shit like that. Like, we don't need to hear that. We're human beings like everyone else, and because you have issues with seeing me less than human or less than you, that's not my burden to carry, and that's not my concern. But what you need to stop doing is you need to stop trying to over-identify and like oversimplify what you mean to say. Just say what you mean and mean what you say so that you could be corrected right where you stand, so you don't go on to further make those mistakes like Scott Adams. Keep that in mind.